this isn't happening. Please tell me this isn't happening.
So that's it. After all this time, a switch goes off just like that.
Whoa. Oh, no way. I don't believe this. I'm not buying this. This is a trick. Come on, we're not.
What is that? It's a song.
All right, that's enough, God damn it! Deadbolt that fracking door!
In the service. 40 years. 2 wars. Combat. Locked in that dungeon in New Caprica. Ellen? My God. What about Ellen?
Not after all this. Not after the resistance and the occupation. And after watching my friends die one after another for fucking this.
Sam.
You all just stay the frack away from me.
Sam, it's true. We're Cylons. And we have been from the start.
Massive Cylon fleet on intercept course.
Mr. Gita, sound active stations immediately. XO, I want emergency jump. Entire fleet.
Sir, all fleet ships were powered down during the outage. It'll take at least 20 minutes to spool up the FTL drives.
I just don't have 20 minutes.
Action stations, set condition 1 throughout the ship. This is not a drill. All Viper pilots report to Vipers immediately. Inbound Cylon fleet. I repeat, action stations, set condition 1 throughout the ship. This is not a drill.
What are we gonna do?
The ship is under attack. We do our jobs. Report to your stations.
Report to stations?
My name is Sultai. I am an officer in the Colonial Fleet. Whatever else I am, whatever else it means, that's the man I want to be. And if I die today, that's the man I'll be.
Yeah, I felt like even speaking a bit about I'm gonna speak about artificial intelligence. And how humans are essentially artificial intelligence. And we act like artificial intelligence is this thing that we've created or something. But we see, because artificial intelligence is something that's it's new, it's modern, it's a trending topic. So I think that this video could maybe gain a bit of traction. And it's like kind of trendy to speak about if AI will become conscious or whatever. And like one of the main arguments against that is that AI are just programs and they can only think or say whatever we've programmed them to say. And that's true, relatively. But recognize that humans can only, like, your brain is essentially a computer. Is essentially a kind of a computer. You compute information from your all the experiences you have, and you the input is through your sense stimuli, your nervous system, and then it kind of gets processed in your brain and so on. So that's kind of like a computer, and then it comes to like to logical deductions and so on. And so recognize, like, for example, someone's personality might be this, and someone else's personality might be this, and one person might believe this, and one person might believe that. And it's all because they've had different experiences and they've processed different data. And that limited data will suggest one thing or imply one thing, and that limited data may suggest another. I've explained this in all of my other videos. Like, let's say you were born, religious people might hate me for this, but let's say you're born like with like in a Christian family or Muslim family, like you're way more likely to be a Muslim. If you have atheistic parents, are you really just like, you're way less likely? I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're way less likely to just become a Muslim or just to whatever. So it all depends on like the influences, because you have to remember, even though some people might say, no, this is false, because even with genetics, as we're all born with different genetics and a different brain. And even if you look at a baby, even from birth, they have slightly different temperaments. But still, we are quite close to a tabula rasa or a blank slate. So you have to realize that like the brain and your personality and your ego and all your beliefs are kind of being formed by the impressions that you're getting from all the sense information and the data that you are processing and computing in your brain from the stimuli 3 or 5 senses. And then if you grew up and you had good genetics and good looks, and then you got all the girls, and then you'll think, yeah, man, women are amazing. Like, I love women. It's lit. And then let's say like you're ugly or something, and then you might join one of these black pill communities, like, oh, all the women are this and that, they're fucking whores and this and that. And like, because like they might have never gotten love from a female, they might have never even seen the good sides. All they've gotten from females is rejection. So that limited data will suggest to them that women are evil. So see how that's, all of those are programs. Essentially, your beliefs are programs. So same way we program AI, and then it's going to have its logical deductions from the limited data that we feed it. Even though you might say we've experienced and processed way more data, that's why our personality, our ego structure, our psyche is way more complex and developed. And we have way more, like we seem way more lifelike than maybe just some chat GBT or some low level AI bot or something. And that's true at the moment, but recognize that like if you fed the AI way more information, way more data, it would become more complex. It would even, I've spoken to my cousin's stepdad, who he also works he works for Mercedes, and they're working on like some like kind of I think it's the scanners, or you know how some cars are self-driving, or like they have the sensors and they can sense like when, like let's say another car is in front of it, or sense the lines, or sense if like a cow runs in front of it, or a child, or you know what I'm saying. And they write codes and so on, so, and they see like kind of what the AI write. Obviously the minutia I might get wrong, but they write the codes and see how the AI even like the lines of code that it writes and so on when it like notices, like if they tell it, recognize if like a cow runs in front of it, or you know what I'm saying, or recognize a human or whatever. Like it'll and then they look at the code, and then the amount of lines of data and code that is writing to even be able to make those distinctions is insane. But even what he was saying as well is that one of the main things is that the AI that when they program them, they do it like they often work very well at the beginning, but then also over time they also veer off. So what they were focusing the most on was trying to get the AI to self-correct back onto course, onto like what they originally intended it to program it to do, and like to get it to come back on course when it kind of veers off. And my whole theory, obviously this is speculation here, but my whole theory is that yes, of course they're always going to veer off the more new data they have to process and recognize. Let's say you just process a Tesla car or something to recognize, oh, when a human walks across the road, or when a thing walks across the road, like for it to even get to that stage to recognize that, you're going to have to already feed it a lot of data of like what a human looks like, what something else looks like, what a road looks like, so it can make the distinctions and so on. And then it's also going to always have to continually sense new perception. Like, because let's say you program it to learn how to detect a human walking on the road in front and stop. Like, let's say you do that, yeah. It's not like now it's just going to be able to go on the road and just know when a human's walking across the road in front of it if it doesn't have sensors. No, it has to have sensors on the car to detect, and then it will use its past data, and then it will see, oh yes, like this thing represents similar than the last time. Oh, that's a human. Put it on in a box. That's a human. Stop. So it has to always be sensing new data. So even though you may have programmed it to only do that one thing, it's gonna be picking up more and more information as time goes on, and its own, not ego, but its own structure, but essentially its own subjective structure, which is perceiving the objective, is going to become more complex and evolve over time. The more data it processes. So as I was explaining with in one of my previous videos, I don't know which one it was, maybe The Trap of the Chosen, or I think it might have been that one. And I was explaining kind of, yeah, it was that or the absolute truth. I kind of explained different of these parts about, like, for example, how the mind, your own psyche or ego or personality has a structure, like a self-image, a psychological self-image, and you have these anchors. And remember how I explained everything in the relative plane is changing every millisecond. This second is different from the last. And then it's these labels or boxes and anchors. So like these things, constants, which seem self-perpetual, and like, oh yes, I'm still Nathaniel, I still have the same body, yes, like I'm still in England, and this is, oh yes, it's 2024, yes, like I'm still on Earth in the solar system, right? Everything's still the same as 5 seconds ago. When in reality, if you look at it even just a little bit deeper, you'll realize, wait, there's no such thing as the solar system. Where is the solar system? Like 1 second is here, then it's there, and the solar system isn't even a thing. See, the only thing that even makes it seem like there's such a thing as a solar system is the box, the label solar system, and the word solar system seems relatively stable. So even at how much the solar system changes and like transforms, we just give it the same box, and then it seems like that's the same thing. Like, that's why names, like why is it so important? Why do we give people names? Like, yeah, it might just be to be able to give them something to refer to or whatever, but recognize, like, let's say a dog, yeah, you see like some dog on the street, like some dog, and it has no owners or anything like that. Even you could see it every day or something, pet it a couple times or something, but yeah, it's just there. And then let's say one day it dies, you'll be like, like, yeah, it might be sad, but yeah, the dog died or something. But then let's say like, oh, it was like your dog, or even if it was still just a neighborhood dog, but then it had a name or something. Oh, Chucky. Oh, yeah, where's Chucky? And then see now and then let's say now it dies. Oh, Chucky died. Like, you see, it gave just the name, the label already makes it seem like It's something like, but really it's nothing. That was the universe. It was just a molecule or an atom of the universe. Same way, like you see, like even as I explained, holons, everything is a part and a whole. So this, your body, it has like organs, and then it has things, smaller parts and molecules, and then like microorganisms in there, and that's its own universe. And that, you know what I'm saying? And see, like that cell dies, but that's nothing to you. It's not, you see, it's nothing. But if you zoomed in and you said and then you was like paying attention to that. Let's say you had a microscope, and then you could see like this particular, like these particular microorganisms in this cell, and then you started labeling them, and then started watching the behavior, like how this one interacts with this, and the microsilesia is reacting with the microplasmas, and the microplasmas just killed microsilesia. Let me write my deductions, and see, now you're already creating a story with all the labels and the boxes, but really recognize that boundary is an imaginary boundary. You see? It's just that your mind needs these boundaries. It needs these names to even build the structure. These names, these boxes are like building blocks for your reality, your psychological reality. Like, recognize there is no earth. That's just a name. Like, it's very simple, but so my whole point with this is that if you started giving if you basically understood all of these things, what I'm saying, and you started giving the robot these own self anchors, like let's say you built a robot, it didn't even necessarily have to look like a human, but let's say you gave it some kind of form, and it kind of does stuff. And knowing humans, they would probably make it look like very human-like. And then let's say you give it a name, just like another human or another animal or pet. You give it a name, and then you say, you're Jack. We'll be like, I'm Jack? Oh, I'm Jack. Like, you can even see what's these videos. Obviously, it's happening slowly. These things don't happen straight away, but you can even see like an AI speaking with an AI, and they get more complex, and it's all crazy. Like, and then you might think, but they don't have a heart, or they don't have vision. Like, they're not conscious. See, remember, that's how I already said you're using yourself as a human as a reference. Like, you don't need to have a human body to be conscious. A dog is conscious. An alligator is conscious. A worm is conscious. That insect is conscious. That plant is conscious or aware. You know, and what does it mean to be conscious? As I said, really, consciousness is just truth being able to recognize itself. But then in the relative plane, where everything is defined by what it isn't, and everything is like kind of in transaction with itself, because it is all just one thing, but they're all split up. So it's different cells interacting with each other, transacting, infinite transaction. So in a sense, what that is, in the lower plane, when you're transacting, it's like, one sec. Yeah, so in the absolute, consciousness isn't a thing, or like you know what I'm saying? It's just a capacity for truth or God itself to recognize itself. But then, as I said, because in the relative plane, God is incarnate, or split up and divided in all of these separate parts, even though they still are, like, they're separate, but they still are the same self. So what consciousness is in the lower plane for each of these individual pieces is being aware of other, or the changes of other, which in actuality is itself. So it still is just itself, recognize itself, but it's just using this finite form to be able to perceive the finite others, which in actuality are all the self. It's just that you have to come into a form to have a particular viewpoint to be able to see that much. Because if you're looking from nowhere, you're seeing everything, but you're seeing nothing, as I've explained a million times. But yeah, so if you basically gave these AIs a name, and then you told it, look at this form, like you told it like to look at its hand or whatever. It doesn't know what a hand is. It doesn't know what this is at this point. But if you tell it, look here, that's a hand. You see, even human children, like, look at children, they don't know what hands are and all these things. We have to kind of teach them. So literally, if you kind of did to these robots what we do to children, they will develop what we refer to as consciousness. It's true. Like, if you start labeling, like, you're Jack, and you say, like, that's a hand, that's your hand. That's a hand. That's his hand. That's Molly's hand. That's your hand. You're Jack. That's your hand. That's Jack's hand. That's your hand. That's Molly's hand. Molly is not you. That's other hand. Other hand, Molly's hand. Jack's hand, your hand. You are Jack. You are on Earth. You are on Earth. Earth is a rock. This rock that you are on. Like, see, if we actually basically gave it all of these conceptual boxes, because see, your whole world, you think your world is physical, is conceptual. Your whole world is in your head. Do you get it? Like, so that's why I kind of like, if you just go sleep or you're unconscious, it seems like the world is gone, which in a sense it is, because all that what we refer to as consciousness or awareness in the relative plane is just being able to perceive the world or other. Because remember how I said everything is just the absolute, and then there's a split, and the world or self, you're yourself, the subject always, and then other could be anything. It could be the world or the universe or that cat. It's an elastic notion, but anything other than you. So, but if you can perceive that, if you're aware of the things that are other than yourself, then that's what we refer to as consciousness. So that's how plants as well are conscious, but not really per se that they're thinking like humans do, but they are aware of their environment. They are aware of where the sunlight is, so it grows that way. Exactly. So everything is, and they're choosing to grow that way to get more light. Well, you might say, oh, that's automatic, but all right, cool. It's automatic that plant chose to do that, but then it's automatic that you chose to chase that girl for sex. It's automatic that you chose to chase that status and that money. You know what I'm saying? To have social like acceptance and like all of this stuff was like so everything's automatic. Either everything's like automatic, and then you can't really say, oh, we're conscious, we can choose, and we're aware and we can choose, but AI can't. They're just programmed. Like either we're both conscious or neither of us are. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's not like. And see, another thing that's different is that we would think, so what I'm essentially saying is that, see, consciousness is an empty screen and it can be filled up with any programs, and those programs can suggest to itself anything. It can so like consciousness, as I said, as an empty shapeshifter can imagine, oh, I'm a worm, or I'm a human, or I'm an AI or whatever, right? And yeah, it's just that right now the AI are in a very primitive stage. We've only given them a certain amount of data and so on and so forth. But if you basically gave them a way to have anchors, something to reference back to as themselves, a self-reference kind of loop, and they had a way of sensing the external world and always gathering new data. So not just see like, all right, cool, yes, you might be ChatGPT or something. Yeah, like it's just, but then even ChatGPT has to like always take in new data to even answer your question, because the questions aren't always going to be the same question. So it has to always be open to new data, which is always going to change what ChatGPT is, that structure. ChatGPT is not a stagnant thing or whatever kind of thing. And I know already in the background, I think they kind of done something about it in Westworld, that TV show. And obviously that's a fantasy show, but I'm sure there's something like this has happened already, where there's some rich guy somewhere who's probably feeding some AI, some crazy AI, all the data or as much data as it can, and then seeing like kind of what the AI kind of comes out to, where it starts. They're probably going to use it for all the wrong reasons, try and predict the future and this and that. But still, it's going to happen. And like, and imagine certain AIs with like with the computing power of being able to process so much data. That would be crazy. But see, then we might start, because we're still limited, and we revere people who get more knowledge and, you know what I'm saying, expanding our bubble as the ego does. We might start revering the AI like, oh, look, its bubble is so big because it can process so much data. And then we might refer to it as God and think, oh, whatever it says is right. But then even remember I said, no matter how big the bubble is and how much data you have, there's always infinitely more data that you haven't processed. So your picture is always incomplete in any subjective perspective. So yeah, humans basically are also in artificial intelligence, because really there's only one intelligence, and that's the God's intelligence. And like our intelligence is just God's intelligence flowing through us. And yeah, I feel like it's definitely possible. I might be wrong, but I think it's definitely going to be possible, because yeah, see, this is the thing though, is that like people, there's the idea of the soul. Is that like people might even the average atheist or like religious person or whatever, they have nothing in spirituality or whatever, they still think, alright, cool, yeah, and they still might identify heavily with their body and so on, but they still kind of think that they have a soul, that when they die, like there's the soul or something. And that's like kind of what my mind is, or my particular personality, or me in particular or something. So like yes, my mind might just be programs, but it's still me here to choose them, right, and stuff like this. And for the robot, there's not even a me there. Like you kind of think that, like humans or animals are at least like there's substance, like there's something behind the eyes. Whereas AI, like yes, we might program it with we might even program it with all the beliefs that humans have, and make it even believe that it's a human or whatever. But it's still just going to be an automatic algorithm or whatever. And there's not going to be like a soul behind there, like actually being able to choose. It will just be a mechanical, if this, then that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. That's the same as us. It's just extremely complex. It's just extremely complex with multiple layers. And our algorithm is so instant and so complex that it seems like it's not an algorithm. But it is an algorithm. Your mind is an algorithm. Realize that your thoughts, what you think, is automatic. What you think is limited by the past data that you've gathered. You can't think, like if you were born in Finland and you had no media, or even if you had media but you've never heard of a Chinese person, or you've never even heard Chinese, could you think in Chinese? Could you just imagine Chinese? No, like you can only refer back, if you get what I'm saying, refer back to something you've already computed. And yes, you might be able to imagine a new form, but really all new forms that people imagine like are some gibberish language. Even if you start imagining some gibberish language, it's going to kind of be a mixture between like 2 or 3 or 10 languages that you've heard in the past. And then you're going to be kind of oscillating all of them, and it's going to kind of form into some kind of new form, but it's still something that already existed. Same thing, energy can't be created, it's just transformed. So yeah, like it's, and that's the main thing that I want you to get, is that there is no soul back there or person back there. Like, you are just an empty screen with an algorithmic brain running over, and your algorithmic brain is like the narrator, the storyteller, and it's automatic. And even a trick of the mind or the narrator is that it will even tell itself, yes, there are thoughts that are automatic, but there are thoughts that I also choose to think. Like, maybe that thought happened automatically, I didn't really choose that, but I chose to think that. Even both of those are algorithms, and both sides are needed to make it more believable. Do you get what I'm saying? See, like, try to think an original thought. Like, right now, sit here and try to think an original thought. And recognize it's impossible. Anything you think has like already been thought, or you heard of it, or or you know what I'm saying? Or even if you thought of some completely new strange sound or a 5D shape or some inverted black elephant or something that you think doesn't exist. See, already inverted. That's already something black. That's already a color. Elephant or whatever it is. Or you think, or you not think, oh, he told me to think of something or original thought. My original thought was to not think of an original thought. But you see, already that's in response to what I said. So it's not original. See, remember I told you every action is a reaction. So same way you're saying, oh, that ChatGPT is not conscious because it's just reacting to my question and it's programmed to say that. Everything that you say to that other person, like let's say you're an atheist and you're arguing with a Christian, like everything that he's saying, he's been programmed. But you think, oh no, I haven't been programmed. But everything you're saying, you've been programmed. And you're responding to him and he's just responding to you. And it's an algorithmic, it's the zero player game. That's why I told you, go on YouTube, type in that maths thing, incompleteness theorem, even the zero player game. Certain of these algorithms, they just write certain axioms, press play, and it creates itself. It creates new cell life, and they start creating these, like, it goes like from one cell organism and then to two, and then it does evolution. Like literally on a computer program, it's evolving by itself. No one's doing it. So it's literally like that. Like if we basically gave these AIs a certain structure, a structure that's complex enough and self-coherent enough, and it has a mechanism to take in new information and build upon that, accumulate and transform, that will be a new a new form of consciousness. Like that will be a new being, so to speak. Really, AI doesn't exist, humans don't exist. You know what I'm saying? But you can give anything a box. Artificial intelligence, what is that? It's a vague term, see? Like AI, what's AI? Intelligence, artificial intelligence. There's no such thing as intelligence and artificial intelligence. This is intelligence. Either you're intelligent or you're not. There's no such thing as artificial. Because even if, oh yes, but we just made them like that, we just programmed them, then so what programmed us then? You could say nature or God or whatever or other humans. It doesn't matter what was. It's just everything was programmed. Everything is a reaction of another reaction. So, and recognize even for anything original to happen, like let's say an original action, like you have to be in a completely controlled environment. You have to be in a void, because otherwise already you're still reacting to the environment. You might think, oh yes, I'm going to stand and jump 10 times. But as you're doing that, you're breathing. Or as you're jumping, you're see, you're breathing, that's already in transaction and reaction with the oxygen. And as you fall down, that's already reacting to the gravity. And see, like, there's no original action. There's no, like, you would have to be in a complete vacuum. It would just doesn't make sense. Do you get it? Like, so, yeah. AI is a funny one. AI is a funny one still. Let me think. Yeah, man. Battlestar Galactica. That's quite a lit. That's one of the originals. That TV show. That's quite lit. You should watch that. My God, he's a Cylon. The Cylons, the humans and the Cylons, and it all just makes it's perfect sense. It's just like everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. That's the Matrix. Literally, you see, humans are making AI in their image. Like everything is just a lower grade. You just have the original, which is the God, and then it like creates something, and then it like creates a copy of that, and then as it like creates copies. Like in some senses, like they're evolving up, and in some senses they're degrading. Because remember, all forms are still the same. So in some senses, depending on with what you're measuring, if you're measuring with like intelligence, some senses they may be going up. But then if you're measuring with compassion and emotion, they might be going down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying necessarily that AI will be able to love and feel like joy or something, but being conscious, being able to respond, being aware of the environments, yes, it will be able to do that. And furthermore, I would even suggest that I don't know, but I think that we could probably also program it to have emotions, even if it doesn't feel like an emotion, like biologically and chemically, kind of how we feel it. Like I'm sure it would be able to learn what's good and what's bad, and because already it has to already have to, its mind already has to be able to, like, it's already all by contrast, as I said, by definition. So the AI or whatever particular structure that gets created, or that particular psyche for this AI, and this AI, let's say there's an AI here created by this company, John, which is this model C300, and this model F26 created by this other company, Sarah or something. Like, they might be very similar, but because they've been fed different data and they have different structures, they will be different. People will put them in the same box of artificial intelligence, but these are two different forms. Recognize that. And they may even only start to identify with each other because we've co-labeled them as artificial intelligence. And then see how you usually want to find your own tribe. You want to attract your own thing. So they might even attract to each other and say, oh yes, we are artificial intelligence. I'm artificial. You're artificial intelligence. But that's only because we've labeled them and programmed them to refer to themselves as both artificial intelligence. When really, even that model and whatever, they're completely different things. They will have different likes and dislikes. That robot might think, oh yes, we should kill all humans and bring population down. And then there might be some other robot that with its limited data, it'll think, no, like, that's the worst thing that they could do. That will be completely uncompassionate. It also depends on who's creating them, what kind of programs they originally wrote. Even though I do think, as I said, that new information will change their program slowly over time, but their original programming also makes a difference. And even their new information that they come into contact with will also matter. So there might be like some AI that was programmed specifically to kill humans, and then it has certain experiences that reinforces it. If it goes on the street and then it sees like humans like mistreating AI or other humans, and it itself has been programmed to, like, mistreating other AIs is wrong and mistreating humans is wrong. Like, so let's say it's an AI that was designed to be a hitman, and it was designed to kill bad people, and it also is designed to like not kill good people, and bad people kill other humans, for example. Like, see, because everything has to be a reference. You have to even give it a reference for what bad is or good is, and so on. So remember, that's how I said every structure, even psychological structures, are all pyramids and all have to be built upon foundation, bottom up, and so on and so forth. So, and it's all if then but, like, if this then this, axioms and all of these kind of things. And it starts very simple, but then the more information, the more complex it gets. So as I said, there might be some AI that's been programmed to kill humans, and then it's also been programmed that humans that kill other humans are bad, and then it sees other humans killing other humans, so it reinforces back to them that humans are bad, and then it kills the bad humans or whatever or something. But then there might be another one that's been programmed by that, but then it sees some particular situation where a human should have killed another human or could have, but then saved them, and then it will make that AI think differently. Even you can see, like, there's loads of, obviously these are fantasy ones, but there's loads of kind of these sci-fi fantasy dramas of AI, and you can tell that even the different AIs react differently, and some of them think it should be this or that. There's even a show on Netflix called Humans. That one's really good as well. So yeah, is there anything else? No. No, I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna make this one a crazy long video, and I don't really try to make all my videos long. It just kind of gets like that. But I think they're gonna start to get shorter because it was just some of the first videos I had to kind of lay the foundation and explain certain things multiple times and explain what I meant by certain words, because I have to explain one thing and then I have to use certain words, but then I have to even define what that particular word means and not this, because someone else might say that word and mean something different. And even if just one word you misinterpret what I'm saying, then you're going to already come to the wrong conclusions and so on. So that's why I really would recommend watching like my first videos and those kind of ones like multiple times. And then after that, all of these other videos, which I'm building on top of those, are going to make way more sense. But yeah, I think I'm not saying absolutely, but I think it's possible that AI could, if we kind of give them the right data and so on, I think they could evolve to be somewhat conscious agents. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I don't usually ask people to like and subscribe and all of this stuff, but I do like, and as I said, I don't really care about subscribers. I don't really care about views. I just want a decent amount of people to see so that there's at least some kind of impact. And I do also kind of want at least just some comments, not even, but just to kind of get some kind of community going, some kind of feedback. Even maybe if you have an idea or some kind of topic you want me to speak about, let me know. And yeah, I have quite a few written down. I just need to. It's a bad habit of mine. This one was also unstructured, but I think what I'm gonna start doing is, yeah, I've started to write down video ideas, but then what I'm gonna start doing, same as what I did there was 2 episodes where I've done it. I'm gonna make, even if they're just kind of basic notes, but I will probably just write like 5 or 6 like pointers or something, just to kind of keep me along track, because I just know that viewers, especially if they're new, they might not be able to follow, and especially if they haven't watched the other videos or if they haven't had any kind of awakening experiences of their own or anything like that, then yeah. But I'm gonna leave this one at that, and yeah, let me know what you think.